we talk about sexy time. And it's Ben Seong from Learn ASP or Learn Australian Strength Performance. But in all seriousness, today we're going to be discussing increasing your testosterone naturally. Now, testosterone, as you know, is predominantly a male hormone, and it is associated, or high levels of natural testosterone is associated with higher sex drives in males, as well as the ability to put on more muscle. You become more anabolic. And that's what sort of the relationship that we understand testosterone has within our body itself. So, as a result of this, I'm sure a lot of guys out there are eagerly going out there to try to increase their testosterone levels. Some do artificially, some actually look for natural methods to increase it. Now, this video is not going to be about tribulus. We're not going to be talking about using herbs to increase your testosterone. But what I'm going to talk about is 3 ways on how you could boost your testosterone levels naturally, and because of that, facilitate better sex drive and the better ability to build muscles. The first way of increasing testosterone naturally in your body is to look at minimizing aromatization. Now, aromatization is a process where testosterone converts into another hormone called estrogen. You might be familiar with estrogen. It is predominantly a female hormone. So when you get testosterone converting to estrogen, you really get physical feminization of the individual. Aromatization can also lead to an increase in fat gain and the development of what we call an estrogenic profile. And an estrogenic profile is, again, the word estrogen, which means that the accumulation of estrogen within the body will cause the body to store fat in certain areas. We're talking here about the glutes, the thighs, so a heavier bottom, as well as fattier triceps, and we spoke about it earlier, gynecomastia. So, process of aromatization is not a favorable process. By minimizing it, you will naturally increase the amount of testosterone in your body. Now, how do you do that? Here are some ways that you can look at. The first one is to increase the intake of zinc. Zinc as a mineral is the primary anti-aromatase agent. So if you're eating foods high in zinc or taking zinc supplements, you can effectively minimize aromatization. You can also look at drinking more water through the day. Majority of us wait till we are thirsty before we drink water, and by that time, that is already a sign of dehydration. So don't wait till you are thirsty, make sure that you're constantly sipping through the day. One thing I often like to do with clients is to give them a water goal, and that is to make sure that they have a bottle of a certain amount of water next to them, making sure that they drink that bottle every so often, and be accountable to that. This allows them to maintain that their water intake is optimal, and again, helping to minimize aromatization. The other things that we can look at, staying off certain alcoholic beverages such as beer can really help. Beer contains hops, which is a highly estrogenic agent. Now, beer is one of those highly aromatizing drinks. I think if you drink too much beer, there is also a higher propensity for the individual to develop male boobs. And that's why you probably don't want to indulge yourself in too much beer too often. We can also look at increasing your protein intake. Now, for a lot of people, protein isn't necessarily the primary food of the day, but by increasing protein, that's a great way of minimizing aromatization. The last thing I want to suggest is to look at minimizing insulin spiking throughout the entire day. Now, insulin is a hormone that takes in sugar and stores it. However, if you get insulin spikes throughout the entire day, and especially if your body fat levels are high, then you are putting yourself in a position where you are going to be putting on more fat. And we know that aromatase, the enzyme, is present in fat cells. And so the more fat you have, the higher the likelihood for you to aromatize. So if you get leaner, that would really help with the process of aromatization. Point number 2 is about stress. Now, why do I talk about stress? Because this concept is a concept that doesn't just apply to emotional stress. It is a concept that could build up in your body based on any sort of stresses that you might face. So whether your stress comes emotionally, whether it's from something that's physical, you're doing too much physical activity, or whether it's eating the wrong foods that gives you gut stress. Stress accumulates, and as it accumulates in your body starts to produce a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is a slow-releasing stress hormone. Now, the function of cortisol in your body is to give you a fight or flight response. But cortisol also draws away from your body's ability to produce testosterone. Why is that the case? Because cortisol and testosterone are derived from the same parent hormone called pregnenolone. Pregnenolone is a cholesterol molecule or a cholesterol-based molecule, and pregnenolone can be used to create cortisol or testosterone. So you can imagine that if you are someone who is highly stressed, highly wound up, and have stresses from all facets of life, that as your body starts to create more cortisol, it also draws away the raw materials that is required for your testosterone levels. Males who are highly stressed would find that their libido levels are low. They find that they're not excited easily, perhaps also finding that their ability to put on muscle is being suppressed. Now, what happens when this particular male goes on a holiday, for example? Now, all of a sudden, those stress levels drop. You wake up in the morning and you're excited. You are ready to go. You find that your libido is higher. So you can see that correlation between stress as well as testosterone. If you want to increase testosterone in your body, look for ways to suppress stress. And the third way to naturally increase testosterone in your body is to look at increasing your intake of quality omega-3s. Now, research has been very clear on the role of omega-3s as an anti-inflammatory agent. So omega-3s really helps to suppress inflammation. Cortisol, stress, and inflammation are highly connected. So if you're highly stressed, your body's inflamed. And so by suppressing inflammation, you naturally will help to increase the amount of testosterone production within your system itself. But more than that, science and studies both on animals as well as humans have actually shown us the benefits of taking a high omega-3 diet. And in fact, this could help in increasing the size of the testes as well as the production of testosterone and sperm. Now, here are a couple of studies that you guys might want to look at. Now, here are 3 simple ways on improving your testosterone levels without having to turn to honey gold weed. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and make sure you head on to learn-asp.com for more content like this, and I will see you in our next YouTube episode.